get it.
Mbijan raganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Ka birim ko na fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Ka Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannam number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteat Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina
yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302 data amount hash or go to your Gibairu menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Gibairu.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluo?
Baluo? What is Baluo?
Baluo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality.
Hello and welcome to the Brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. I'm Lamin Jam. This is our weekly look at current affairs in the past 7 days. Of course, in the past 7 days, the news has been dominated by the demise of Gambia's Vice President, Badara Aliou Diouf, who passed away in India after a short illness. At the moment, preparations are in high gear for the arrival of his corpse and a planned state funeral on Monday. But we will continue, of course, with dealing with more tributes, and then we will inform you of the preparations for the official ceremony. I'm with me in the studio to do all that. I have on my right Gibairu Janneh, is Director of Communications at the Gambia National Assembly. He will take us through who can access the assembly and what are the other arrangements on the day of the funeral on Monday. Veteran journalist Tijan Masanneh Ceesay, he knew Aliou Badara Diouf very well from his school days, and when Badara was a teacher right down to now, he will pay his tribute to the late Badara Diouf, Vice President. And on my far right is Gambia government spokesman Ebrima Sankareh, who was a student and also very close to the late Vice President Badara Diouf. He will tell us all what the Gambia government has been doing and will do towards from now against next week when he will be laid to rest. So gentlemen, welcome to the Brunch, a special edition again on a somber note because the nation is still mourning the Vice President. The 7 days is still on, and so this is expected to be continuation of his tributes and of course to update you on what is left until he is laid to rest. So gentlemen, welcome to the program. Let me begin by you, Ebrima Sankareh. I want first your tribute. Badara Diouf, the man you knew, the man who taught you, and the man you have lived closely and been in touch until the very last weeks, I might say, before his demise. And then you can update us to what the government's intervention had been and what is expected on Monday onwards. Welcome to the Brunch after 2 years, or is it 4 years?
Yeah, no, I think I started this program.
You started the program, yes, 4 years ago, yes.
Yeah,
welcome back.
Well, yeah, time flies, they say.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, Badara Diouf was my teacher, my friend, my brother, family, and my mentor. Backtracking his career as a school teacher, one uncovers a very shy person, very brilliant, sparkling brilliance person, yet a man who was so honest that in his honesty he could be loud, but as a person, a very private, very discreet person. At Nusrat, where he said, he would always say, in the words of the English scholar Wordsworth, that his real career as a teacher began at Nusrat High School. Okay. He had taught earlier though at Sali Kenya Primary School. Yes, he had taught at Albion, where he taught our friend Peter Gomez.
Yes.
Where he taught Jaina Banyang, the journalist.
Yes.
Where he taught Omar Faye, the statesman, ambassador, minister.
Soldier.
Yes. And then later he also taught at the Latrikunda Secondary Technical School. And then transitioned to Nusrat High School, where we would later encounter him as a young teacher. And from there he proceeded to the University of Bristol, and then the University of London, and then Bath. And of course he also studied in Canada, specialized in human rights studies. He had a very interesting career. After finishing college and teaching at Nusrat, he had a scholarship to go to the University of Jos, because he was always inspired by Achebe and Soyinka. He got a scholarship, he was supposed to go, and he got prepared. Send-off party was organized. Last minute, they told him the scholarship was cancelled.
Wow, interesting.
But he was a man of strong faith.
That was where? Jos, it's Nigeria?
1980s, yes.
Where, Nigeria?
No, Nigeria, the University of Jos in Nigeria.
Yes.
He wanted,
Jos?
Yeah, Jos.
Oh, yes,
in the Jos Plateau in Nigeria.
Yeah, Plateau State.
Yeah, so he returned to Nusrat, very determined, very faithful guy. And the time he spent at Nusrat, he didn't only stay there teaching, he was also developing himself, doing private exams here and there. And then a year or so later, he was lucky to go to London, Bristol University, where he studied English education. And then after he graduated with honors, he proceeded to the University of London, specializing in literature. It was at the University of London that he met the famous English scholar, Professor Harry Widdowson. Widdowson, I'm sure you know, is probably the most authoritative person in the realm of literature and in the genre of sociolinguistics. Even when he speaks, Badara's diction, he tries to imitate Professor Widdowson.
I see.
After he graduated from London, Widdowson recommended that he proceeds to Oxford. He was actually admitted to Oxford University to pursue a PhD in linguistics, But he decided to come back because he was a school teacher on a scholarship. Then he returned to Nusrat. And a year or so later, he would be teaching at the Gambia College and GTDI. And then people like Sarah Jangha and Bakari Bunja Dabo thought he needed to come to the State House. So they took him from us at Nusrat.
They took him from academia.
And because he was a good speechwriter and he was an orator. So that's how he transitioned and was taken to the State House as a principal assistant secretary. And while there, because the work he was doing dealt a lot of economics to economic policy and all that, he was given yet another scholarship to go to England and pursue a master's degree in developmental economics at the University of Bath. So that's how he became an economist, and that would later get him a job at the World Bank. So this is in brief the summary of his career, of his academic persona. So I guess I would stop here for now and allow but regarding the funeral arrangements, I think I have a note here from the ambassador in India.
In India,
So the flight carrying the corpse of the late Vice President will also bring along the ambassador, His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, his wife, the widow, now we say the widow, Madam Fatou Sonko Diouf, the physician who accompanied him while he was ill, and one of his escort police officers. So they arrive in Dakar International Airport at 16:35 p.m. today. And from there, I think the Senegalese government, President Barrow, was able to have approval from President Sall out of a gesture of magnanimity that the Senegalese government was going to provide a helicopter that would jet to Banjul. And so all in all, we're expecting that he should be in Banjul no later than 5:30 this afternoon. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
And from there, the army would escort him to the mortuary at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, where the body would be until Monday morning. Then he will be transferred, to the National Assembly, where it will be laid in state, and then mourners would come file past, paying their last respect. And thereafter, the eulogies and the speeches, the pageantry and the pant of statehood. And from there to Banjulunding, his residence, where he would be taken to the masjid for the final prayers, and then to the Banjulunding cemetery, where he'll be laid to rest next to his late mother, Aja Fatoumata Ba.
Wow, very, very interesting. So we now expect his corpse later today.
Certainly.
Tijan Masanneh Ceesay, been a journalist since the 1970s and knew Badara, of course. He told me not long ago the first encounter was a school quiz competition. When Badara was at Nusra, he was at Central, of course. Can you take us to what do you remember Badara's demand for you?
I think, first of all, I want to thank the government spokesman for that.
brief rundown. I think he's taking a lot.
Well, he knew him.
A win out of me. But 3 words. Charity, decency, integrity. He had all. The man was of impeccable disposition. Like you rightly said, Baron and I came into contact through the Saints Nusrat High School rivalry. You know, we always wanted to be the best. And Jagan Bahum, Lamin Manjang and I were the study makers for St. Augustine's High School. And I do recall Tambong was on the Nusrat side.
Tambong said.
Yes. And Barra was one of their coaches, and the late A.K. Savage, Chief Justice.
Yeah.
And our coach was Sol Jai. Of course, Sol and A.K., you know, they were friends and they were colleagues and were scholars, and of course, Barra is a scholar of unrivaled intellectual acumen. And thereat, I remember him telling me, "You have a future in broadcasting, you're a great public speaker." And when I started my career as a lowly, modest journal at the Department of Information, when we were challenged by the likes of Swaibu Konate, MD Njai, A. Njai, my boss Sukaimbai. So one of the things that I did when Barra would normally frequent the Bedford building, where we were downstairs, the Gambia Information News Agencies, at the time, GINS, he would go through my scripts. And I'm profoundly grateful because he pushed me to be a decent writer. The man was, even just seeing him, you see that grace in him. When I saw him in the first cabinet retreat, taking his colleagues to task, talking about a rendezvous in 2026, I think that was profound. And in fact, I think it's one of the strongest speeches ever delivered by a Gambian vice president, talking to his colleagues and tell them, listen, this president has confidence and trust in us, and we owe it to the Gambian people to deliver to them. And this is the time to work. It's now. It needs to be done. I don't think that language comes across quite often in the Gambia. And that was bold of a vice president. And when I had one of his colleagues, I think it's the Minister of Interior, Siaka Sonko, go back to those words 2 days ago, I said to myself, it did have impact on his colleagues. Now the nation has lost.
What I actually took from that speech was not so much as what the task he gave to his colleagues in the cabinet, but the Gambian he represented. He said, look at me now. I mean, that was very important for me because this is a time when politics are polarized, everybody, people beginning to question where somebody might have come from or which region or tribe they belong to. He said, look at me. My mother is Fula. I am Serer. My wife is Mandinka. Who am I? Which tribe do I belong to? I mean, you look at that. I mean, that alone tells you the background. You see, it's been said that civil servants of the post-independence time, the technocrats of that time, are very rare. And whether it was just one of them who portrayed, Gambianness in whatever he was doing. And people commended him too. I don't know, maybe the government spokesman can, or you must have observed too. I've never had him address a political platform. Could I be wrong? But Sankareh, why do you think that was not him? I've never, while most of you, okay, you never address any political rally yourself, but while others would have sent vice presidents of the past, would have been the cheerleaders in political rallies, he never did one, even when he was education minister.
Yeah, because when he was hired, he wasn't hired as a politician per se.
A technocrat.
Yes, there were some people in the Barrow government.
Yes.
The transitional government.
Yeah.
who were hired purely on political reasons.
Yes.
They represented political parties.
Yes.
They work hard to remove the person before Janneh, before Barrow.
Yeah.
And then there were others who actually were co-opted, or decided to join the government based on their own expertise and know-how.
Yeah.
So him, Bailamin Job, the Justice Minister Tambedu, and then Batambedu, that is, and a few others were appointed, actually as technicians.
Yeah.
However, it is a marriage of inconvenience.
But it's not uncommon to see such technocrats turn to big politicians.
That's what
he never forayed into
that's
those.
what I'm trying to say. It was a marriage of inconvenience because you cannot be a minister of state.
Okay.
And you don't want to gravitate towards politics. So that was the dilemma of the ghost, as the Ghanaian writer would say. But you are right. He had always seen himself more as a technician than as a politician. There are a few instances where he addressed gathering. I think I remember him addressing one in his hometown around Kuntawur. Yes, but it was also about policy, what Barrow was doing, what he was not doing, the expectations and all that. And of course, there was one rendezvous with the people of Banjul when the Meet the People store ended, and the president invited him to also talk about what the education policies were, higher education policies. And in Banjul also he spoke. I remember the president saying, as a school teacher, when they begin, they won't stop. They suffer from what most people say, verbal diarrhea. I see. Yes. So maybe that.
You mentioned his ancestry, Kuntawur. I mean, many people thought he would have come from Nyomi. Not much is known about his ancestry. I mean, his origins in Kuntawur. He came from Kuntawur.
Yeah, he's from Kuntawur. Yes, of Fulani Serere stock.
I see.
Yes, but by and large, at home the language they speak is Fulani.
Yes, of course.
I don't think Badara even.
He spoke fluent Fulani.
That's what we speak all the time. That's what he speaks with the president. That's what he spoke with the president. But in literature, we use the present tense. So I'm going to use the present.
Yes, of course.
So he speaks Fula. We always speak Fula.
Okay.
So even at home, the sisters, the brothers,
and he understood so many other languages, local language.
Yeah, yes.
So he spoke Mandinka very well.
Very well, Mandinka, and of course.
And Wolof, of course.
Yes. Some people thought he was Wolof.
Wolof, yes.
Right.
So what about his own language, Serer?
No, that's what I said. I wonder if Badra can speak a word of Serere. I wonder.
Ironically.
No, I wonder. And I'm talking about Badara. One thing I will always remember about Badara. I have never ever seen Badara speak to his mother standing. I have never seen him speaking to the mother sitting on the mother's bed. Badara will always sit on the floor and talk to the mother. Every morning, every afternoon, at night before he goes to bed, he's sitting next to the mother. So I'm not surprised he's going to be laid to rest next to the mother. He was so close to the mother. One day the mom called me 2 years before she died, and she prayed for Badara. We had a visiting group from Senegal, Senegalese diplomat C. The wife is my niece. Some of our ancestors are also Senegalese. So we went to see her to pray for them. And in the prayer, she reverted to praying for Badara. She prayed for Badara until everybody was crying. She was a woman of unknown knowledge. She had so many gifts. And Badara, I think, was just a personification of Fatou.
So his father predeceased a long time.
Yeah, Badara could not even remember his dad. His dad died very well. At infancy, I would say, yes. He died very young. Yes. But he has an elder brother who is like 91 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, much older. And he has an elder sister also, in her 80s, I think. Medina. Yes. Yes, the elder brother is still very active, walks well, he can walk from Banyulunding up to Yundum and comes back, Abdullah is so. Yeah.
That's why they say there's no price for good health.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, Okay, from the point of government view, of course, in our constitutional tradition, people and their ailments are not publicly discussed as opposed to, other societies. That's why we couldn't by now talk about even a replacement. But many people felt that the government was, too quiet about his illness. Not many people knew that he was in fact seriously ill until everybody was shocked when his death was announced. Was it well known that he was sick?
I personally did not know the gravity of his illness. I did not know. But like I said, Badara was a very private person. I have said this over and over. He had a public persona as a scholar, an academic, and as a public servant. But inwardly, he was a very discreet person. Yes. Okay. So probably not that the government was taciturn or quiet about the illness, but maybe the government did not even know, and that Badara would die in India was a shock to the whole nation, to the president, to the entire family.
Yeah.
The man had packed coming home. This Saturday, the casket is arriving. He had bought a ticket to return because he was declared okay.
Similar to that of our friend Abdul Salam
Jammeh. I thought about Abdul Salam.
Abdul Salam was
Jammeh, yes.
3 days before his departure.
Exactly.
He died.
Yes.
So it was much the same.
The same kind of scenario. Yeah, honestly.
Okay. Yes, Tijan, okay, let's come to the Director of National Assembly Communications, Gibairu Janneh. The cops, as the government spokesman told us, may be arriving today, and the ceremony on Monday will be at the National Assembly. What kind of people can access? Is it open to the public, and what sort of ceremony are we expecting at the National Assembly?
Thank you very much, Lamin, and thank you once again for inviting us to share with the public what the preparations are at the National Assembly regarding the laying in state of His Excellency Badara Diouf. Of course, I'm sure everyone is aware that once there is a state funeral, the National Assembly is where a state funeral is conducted. And as the government spokesperson just mentioned, on Monday, the corpse will be taken from the mortuary to the National Assembly to begin the laying in state. This is a national event. You just mentioned that Badara's passing was a shock to the entire nation. Absolutely. And the whole country is still reeling from the devastation of the demise. And therefore, at the National Assembly, we are inviting every Gambian who wants to be part of the mourners to have the opportunity to be part of the mourners. What we want to make clear is that the National Assembly, of course, by the nature of our size, is very, very small. It cannot accommodate. Our wish always is for every single Gambian to be part of assembly proceedings and programs. But unfortunately, due to limitation in space, the lower public gallery, because the National Assembly has 2 galleries where the public access. The lower gallery is where is inside the main hall of the National Assembly, where the MPs are. That place is reserved for the president, cabinet ministers, and senior government officials.
And maybe his family.
And his family. The upper public gallery, which is up there in the chamber, is open to the public. But because it is a very small area, it is first come, first half basis. So once the seats in there are full, it is full. But we are trying our best to erect a tent, as we always do in other major activities of the National Assembly, inside the assembly precincts. And that tent will be fitted with a giant screen, so that all proceedings in the chamber will also be observed by those outside in the tent, so that they will not be left out. So essentially, the National Assembly is taking every step to ensure that everyone is accommodated on that day. This is a sad day for the nation, and everyone who wants to be part of the process, wants to sympathize with the state and the family of His Excellency Badara Diouf, will definitely be able to be at the National Assembly.
Any news about it? Program guide? How are things going to happen there, for example?
Yes, we want to inform the general public and all invited guests that they must be seated by 8 o'clock.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Because
that's sometimes proven difficult now, and given the
what we always advise is that knowing the traffic situation, if you really interested, get up early and get to Banjul early, because once proceedings start, it does not matter even if you are the government spokesperson, you will not be allowed access.
You are throwing jabs at
no,
okay, all right.
I just want it to be, yes, I'm trying to make emphasis, because we do have situations where people come so late and want to say, do you know who I am? But this, you have to understand that you have the entire government machinery in an enclosed environment, and security don't take it lightly.
Okay, and I mean, I think government spokesmen you were very keen to. I mean, to make the people understand that it's not a holiday. Because when you declare 7 days, a lot of people, like, I saw you coming back, having to clarify. Was it taken? Was the 7 day conceived to be a public holiday?
Because we were sitting at the vice president's home with the mourners.
Yes.
And my younger sister, Fatou, she came to me and said, I think you need to do a new press release. I said, why? She said, I was arguing to some people. They are complaining that you people don't want to work. You've given people a whole week to sit home. You know, she tried to clarify, no, it's mourning. They said, no, it's a holiday. So, and then Sankareh, the deputy spokesperson, came with about 15 people protesting why is, Baluo declaring 7 days, holiday. So and I spoke to the president himself, and he told me there was no holiday, and I said, okay, so I came out with the press release. Surprisingly, after the rejoinder, the same people started writing again. Oh, he cannot even give us 2 days national holiday. What is going on? Some people are saying, on Monday, how can we go to work on Monday when our vice president is going to be late?
At least they should have considered Monday.
So that's the new Gambia for you.
So you cannot even have Monday. People cannot get even Monday. I think that makes sense. Monday?
Well, from here we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that one is for the government spokesperson and the executive. But we want to say that the proceedings will commence.
I have this text here from the chief of protocol at the office of the president.
All right. Maybe you can read it.
That can help with our time and time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, help us through there.
The lower one,
The lower one.
Yes, it says, pending the printing of the funeral program booklet, please be kindly informed of the following. Monday, 23rd January 2023, 8:30 a.m., laying in state of the National Assembly. All 9 o'clock, all guests to be seated. 10 o'clock program commences. Exactly. And this is the same as we are working towards that. And because immediately at SAP 10, the Honorable Speaker and the President will enter the chamber of the National Assembly. And as usual, the Speaker will call the Assembly to business to order, meaning it will commence. And Speaker will lead in the prayers. That is the National Assembly prayers. And from there, of course, we will have prayers from both the Imam and the Christian community. And Speaker will give his eulogy on the late Badara Juf. In fact, you've just been saying how all of you came into contact with His Excellency the Vice President, and I think all of you are walking in the footsteps of the Honorable Speaker, who was a schoolmate with Badara at Armitage, and they were all college mates, students at the Yundum Teacher Training College. I only hope I get that right. Not Gambia College. I keep saying, and I was reminded that it was not Gambia College. It's Yundum Teacher Training College. From there will be different eulogies, both from family, from the state, and of course, the very people who know the late Badara Juf quite well. And after which, His Excellency the President of the Republic himself will equally give his eulogy before the assembly will rise, and the funeral party of the Gambia Armed Forces will take the casket and all the way to Banjulinding Mosque, where burial will be conducted later in the day.
Good. At this point, we are joined by Samsidin Shar, I understand Samsudin knew Badara very well. They were together at the Gambia College. Samsudin,
Yundum College.
Yundum College.
And just for the record, they went to college with my mother.
Yeah, your mother?
Yeah, they went to college with my mother.
Good. Before we go there, what is normally official ceremony? What's official state funeral? The protocols?
Well, I'll say this.
What can you remember?
Let me say this. The chief of protocol of the Gambia, Alhaji Usman Ceesay, is one of the best chiefs of protocol alive. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And usually, it depends. It's tailored also according to the culture of a nation. Flag drape, horse-drawn cortege, color guard, platoons, lobbing of volleys, which I know Mr. Sarr knows pretty well.
Yeah.
But Alhaji Usman Ceesay will put up a script. I have no doubt about that. This guy is one of the best chiefs of protocol. He knows his stuff. So, state funerals are given only to outstanding citizens that have contributed in different areas, politics, education, social, sciences, and all that.
Yeah.
And it's more of a policy issue too.
Yeah.
And it's taxpayer funded. And if anybody deserves a state funeral, is a man that you can sit and say he gave to his country all he had when he could. And that was Badara Ali Ujuf.
At this point, we welcome, Sheriff Samsudin Sarr, author, former military commander, diplomat. He had it all. Was a very close friend of and colleague of the late Vice President. I remember from college today, both of them taught at LK and I had both professional and personal lives linked together for many, many years. The man, Badara, the man you knew is Badara Juf Sam. Who was the man you knew, Badara Ali Juf?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cham. I can stop here. And first and foremost, let me say hi to everybody here.
Thank you.
I was invited by my colleague.
He's surprised, though. He said there would be somebody coming. I said, okay.
Yes, and yes, I was, he just called me not too long ago. I said, I'm always willing to respond to yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Badara, Ali Badara, we call him Badara.
Badara, yes.
He was 2 years ahead of me at the Gambia College. He graduated in 1975 and I did in 1977.
Okay.
But apparently something drew us together, and that was in his class. He was one of the most vocal radical students. And I was in my class.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So,
that's the case.
yes. So the principal would sometimes call us in his office and threaten to even dismiss us from the college.
Who was white or European?
Yeah, he was a European, a British. I forgot the name, but he was like, I like you guys, but you guys are too vocal, too radical, and we don't want to see anything disruptive in this place.
Yeah.
But he was an outspoken person. And will not mince his words when it is time to speak. And our relationship continued in a manner that, if you ask Sankareh, it was like we were like brothers. Every time he sees me, he calls me, you are the most wrong, the word wrong. He will say, you are wrong. And I will tell him, you are super wrong. That's what we call each other.
Amen.
But it continued, and as a vice president, I have had some relationship with him.
Yeah.
He has consulted me several times on matters related to security.
Yeah, naturally.
And we discussed things that were implemented and found and came out with tremendous results. So I was shocked when I heard about his death.
Probably you two didn't know that he was seriously ill, as many others have.
Yeah, apparently I heard about his illness some time back, that he was being hospitalized at the clinic, that's like Westfield Clinic.
Okay.
And I even, made an attempt to go and visit him, but I understand there were some restrictions on who to see him and who to not. But apparently, I knew that his condition also deteriorated and was eventually flown to India, where he had his treatment, and up to a point where there were hopes of
that
his
he was
total
coming
recovery.
back. Yeah.
And only to learn that the very day he planned to prepare himself to come, things went down again, and he couldn't be resuscitated. But I mean, all I have to say is that, well, the Gambia has lost a very great scholar, a very good gentleman, you know, family-oriented, very friendly, and I am sure we all gonna miss him.
Absolutely.
I feel sad that he's gone. I mean, like, the last time I remember going to his office, we was even talking about his passion about technical institutions and technical education.
Exactly.
Because he brought about the backway issue that you know, people leave this country because they can't really do much on them for themselves.
Exactly.
But technical institutions is something that would really
skills
in this country. Technical skills. You know, and I don't know, but definitely he was a great friend of him.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to ask you back in the days, Demba Jawo spoke of how you, all the three of you were.
I miss Demba Jawo. He should have been here.
Yeah, he told us.
Yes. Because they were a team, you know, I mean, like Demba Jawo, Badara Diouf, and some few of them above. There was Seidi, who was the best mathematicians. They were the radical groups. In our group also we had, you know, me, Tamsin Jeng, and some guys who were really, but they were 2 years ahead of us, because we came in 1994 and 74, and they graduated in 1975. So I left in 1977, 3 years after.
Yeah, but Sankareh talk about his academic credentials. Literature was too much passion for literature. So, you yourself, did your paths cross when you were, for example, authoring that famous bestseller book, Meet Me in Conakry, and other writings?
No, like I said, he left in 1975, and I started writing Meet Me in Conakry in 1977 and completed it in 1982.
Oh, it took you 4 years or so?
Yes, well, it took shorter time, but in order for any Gambian to even want to read it, nobody wanted to look at it because they said I was too crazy to think that I could write a book after Undum College.
I see.
I went to the Minister of Education and I gave it to the director. He threw it away.
That was Tony Blair?
Said, yes.
No,
he said,
Tony Blair.
Sam, you don't know yourself. I went to university, I cannot write a book. You think you can write a book? Until it was Swaigo Konate.
Not surprised.
Who said, I will look at it. Then he took it on a Friday and said he was going to call me on a Monday to tell me what he feels about it. He called me on Saturday and said, this book is publishable. If you send it to Macmillan, they will publish it.
And it happened.
And he sent it, and they arranged, and I before I know it, I was in America when they published it. But again, when I last spoke to him about the book, he was even trying to push for the book to be adopted in the schools. Because it talks about his sentiments about the backway syndrome. That the book was all about rebelliousness of the adolescent between the age of 17 to 24. When we are so rebellious, thinking that we are even masters of our own parents, and wanted to go and adventure a world that we knew little about.
That is the most interesting thing, because pace setters, I mean, the kind of ideas you were, putting in that book is more apt now than ever before.
Because we went there rebelliously, and before we know it, things were so hard. We dreamt about nothing but coming back home.
I read another book in the series written by a Ghanaian, Christmas in the City, more or less like the adventures you describe in your book.
Because if you remember the last chapter, when we walked into the Gambia, we couldn't believe that we saw the PPP flag and say, what a peace progress. That's how I romanticized. Of course, it was romanticized, but the spirit was, don't rebel when you are that young, thinking that you knew better than everybody. And then, like coming back was like waking up, a wake-up call, which affects most young kids, girls and boys, between the ages of 17 and 24, we are confused. But after we transcend that age, we become adults.
Absolutely.
So that was it. Yes, but we talk about that.
You mentioned the speech he had in that retreat, that famous speech, government spokesman, he spoke about his desire. I mean, he was one of few who would tell it as it is.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, some said that it was an indictment on his colleagues, and some said, well, we have always known him to be very forthright and outspoken, but we wonder whether he can make this one work, given that perhaps...
I don't think it was an indictment. I totally disagree. I think it was a challenge, because we have a mandate. This president is given an overwhelming mandate to deliver to the Gambian people, and he has brought us in as acolytes to work with him and get the job done. So let's get the job done.
But he directly addressed his colleagues and highlighted what's expected of them and what's not expected of them.
Well, hey, management is telling people what to do, when to do it, why to do it, because you want them to do it. Period.
I want to know how the nation will miss him, because when he came in, I mean, of course, the Baluo regime had existed 5 years or so, but when he came in, people seem to see a new impetus in the whole setup. People said, oh, now there's a man that everybody believes that can make things work. I mean, how is he going to miss now?
Can I just let me begin by trying to answer your previous question, whether the speech was an indictment on his.
Can look at his colleagues and tell them that we're going to do things better.
The speech, my friend Tijan, had so many reverberations. Reverberations. He knows, and we talked about it, and many people, even some former diplomats, even in the Sadauda era, they took offense to some of the commentary.
I'm not quite wrong when I say that.
Yes, that you cannot make omelets without breaking eggs. Yes, it was Patrick's famous this thing. Yes, I unfortunately wasn't there that day. I was having a meeting with the president about something I was writing. But then when I listened to the speech, I also got feedbacks from what they sent me, what people were thinking social media, people who had even stopped working for government 30 years ago. I decided to read everything, and I went to him at night.
Yes.
And I said, VP. He said, who is VP? He said, you're doing Rusmanga or VP? He never wanted me to call him. No, he doesn't want me to call him Excellency, Honorable, or VP. I always call him Badara. I said, you gave a great speech. He said, oh, was it great? I said, yes. I said, but your speech has so many problems. He said, yes, Ebrima, I said, I said, no. I said, did the president tell you he was going to sack you?
Yes,
he said, I don't even mind being sacked. He said, no. I said, you need to go and talk to the president, because I think really what you said about the president wasn't fair. So the following day he went there and said, because I had so many rumors. Man said, but Koto, I never told you I'm going to sack you. You were just speaking your mind. So that was Badara. So, in the end. but so many people saw it like that.
Yes.
Some people saw it as Badara being Badara. He doesn't mince his words. Was a straight talker, and then very honest, guy. But that is life. The Kwame Nkrumah's girlfriend in South Africa wrote a book decades after he died. And here is how he summarized Kwame Nkrumah's life. A man of enormous brilliance, loved and hated, yet admired by all who met him.
Maybe June or something.
June something.
June,
I remember. So you can paraphrase that, and then in circumstances like this, I don't know whether he was hated, but you can say a man loved and maybe despised. Maybe
he was well admired.
Yes, well admired.
Some people back in the 70s said they never saw an attractive civil servant. Was terrifically handsome. They told me.
I'm still not there. I'm sure you have some. So some more stuff to go. One of the things that I realized in this country, all three of us have lived in the States, is being direct. Being direct is not an indictment. These are my expectations. This is a job, and this is what we need to do. It's called a job definition. But unfortunately, I have a little business here. And in the States, you all know no call, no show is no job.
Yeah.
I have an employee who told me she didn't have credit to call, that she's missing work. But these are the things that Barara could not take.
Yeah.
So these were the, I think this was what was addressed.
Yeah.
Like, look, their expectations. The Gambian people are out there. They have expectations. And come 2026, we should be able to say we delivered. And honestly, that's why I'm disagreeing on the indictment thing.
Yeah,
it is something that needs to be done. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
That's what he was telling his colleagues.
Yeah.
Let's get to work. Let's get it done.
Let's go back to Parliament. Press access. A lot of journalists have started setting up, wanting to set up ahead of the state funeral, and normally it's chaotic, straight like this. What is the process going to look like?
Yes, I have received so many calls, including from you, asking what the arrangements are.
Yeah.
As usual, we want to make sure that we don't impede the work of the journalists. We make it easier for them to do their work. We have called upon GRTS as the national broadcaster to set up a field studio. I'm sure you understand what that means. And they have already done that since yesterday.
So they will feed all the audience.
And they will feed every media house in this country that wants to broadcast, whether you are online or at home.
Whether you want to sit at your corner.
Anywhere. They will help us distribute clean feeds, because that has always been the catchword. Media houses want to have clean feed, and GRTS is honorably doing that service for us. So
do they do press need accreditation cards for this one, or
certainly no, but a press card will be required to be shown to.
There are no institutions press card.
No, your institutional press card will be required to get you into the assembly precincts. Of course, the chamber, because only cameras will be in the chamber. So only a few GRTS cameramen will be in the chamber. All of us, the journalists, will be at our respective outside broadcasting areas and can comment on the proceedings as it unfolds. So it is the same arrangement that we keep doing whenever National Assembly has a mega activity.
Winding down now, any more details you want to share with the public?
Certainly just to encourage the public to endeavor to be in Banjul as early as 8, because as you show from the program, tentative program that we are working on at the moment, the program starts 10 o'clock sharp. That is the inside the chamber. But between 8 and 10, there are activities going on. It will include the arrival of invited guests. It will include the arrival of the general public, National Assembly members, the arrival of the Honorable Speaker, the President, and even the bringing of the casket from the mortuary to the National Assembly. So therefore, we will say that the program starts at 8, even though official eulogies will begin at 10. So all those who want to be in Banjul on Monday for the laying in state of the Vice President should endeavor to be there no later than 8:30.
Government spokesman, what is the ceremony like at the airport today? Who should be there? The public? Is it open to the public?
Well,
more than so.
You know, if you are a vice president,
yes.
If you are a school teacher and a civil servant,
yes.
If you die, you are everybody's. I guess corpse. So it will be silly for me to try to say who will be there and who will not be there. Officially, the Gambia Armed Forces will officially receive the body. You know, but I told you the wife is on that flight. The ambassador to India is on that flight. The doctor who accompanied him and one of his guards. So obviously family members will be there. There will be sympathizers. You know, I even understand. Sam was telling me that some people were trying to rally support to go there, to mobilize, to go and you know, receive the casket. So it's a state funeral. It's a national funeral. So obviously, I guess Gambians are more than welcome to go, you know, see that casket
We winding down, Sam. Any last tribute?
Yes. I wanted to say that, yes, as teachers, we were teachers.
Absolutely.
He taught at Latrikunda School, and I went to Spokesperson Secondary Technical School, and then I came back to Latrikunda School before I left for America. But then he went to Nusrat. But like I said, everybody knows him. Up to this day, even in the Gambia Army, my students would look, hey, teacher, and I would not even remember them. So when you once a teacher, you are a teacher everywhere. Even as a soldier, people saw more of my teaching than my military commanders.
I remember your teaching too.
Yes. And but having said that, I wanted to come back briefly on that indictment stuff. That when he mentioned, after that speech, I called him. And I told him, look, I saw myself in what you were saying, and I feel a little bit guilty because I am one person who, knowing what the police do, I always express my appreciation of their job by passing around and dashing them some money. Even go to police station, I'm very close there. Every time I buy them warga attire.
I know. When those in Tanya here, I often go at night.
Because what I tell them is that in America, people go to the television, they go to rallying points and express their appreciation of the police, what they do for them. Here, we don't have that kind of platform. We meet them in the streets. So I encourage people, if you see them, they may not ask, but they may need it. If you have a $5, $10, you give it to them.
Especially those keep the night on the street.
That Silo Bula, he just brought it in. But that was during Jawara's days. You remember the police officer Silo Bula?
No.
It's another guy.
I don't know whether he's Fansu or
Silo Bula. So he brought it in, but I told him that, look, if you have $10, $20, if you see the policeman, give it to him. It's a cultural way of showing our appreciation of what they do because of the.
So you thought Badare was condemning this as an act of corruption?
Yes, I told him it's not corruption. This is like I am corrupt because I will give it to them when they don't even ask. So if so that was it. I think he's a great man, and we should all bury him in the way he deserves to be buried as a vice president, a teacher, a scholar, family man, and everything, and a good friend.
Absolutely,
that's it.
Finally, Tijan.
I think Sam and the government spokesman and Mr. Janneh have, in closing, I just want to add on, he was a statesman and an extraordinary one at that. He prepared men and women of repute. People that today have enhanced the political evolution of this country.
The president said his students are in cabinet and in the other place.
And, watching the president speak during the signing of the condolence book, this man spoke from his heart. And you could visibly see how shaken he is, having lost his second in command. It will be a sober ceremony. Of course, you and I will be calling it for Kerr Fatou. Like Sam said, he goes home with the national recognition he deserves. He's definitely and certainly given to this nation, whether it was in teaching or being the permanent secretary, minister, or the vice president of the republic. He has done it all. And usually the Wolof would say, Gacha Galama.
Finally, I have the last one, Mr. Sankareh.
Yes, he was my teacher of literature. And as a literary scholar, I would end this program with the profound words of the Irish-Scottish writer Ballantyne. At the end of his novel, when the characters were poised to part and probably never to see again, he wrote thus: to part is the lot of all mankind. The world is a scene of constant leave-taking, and the hands that grasp in cordial greeting are doomed ere long to unite for the last time, when the quivering lips pronounce the word farewell. To my teacher, my brother, my friend, my mentor, my prodigy, fare thee well.
Ebrima G. Sankareh, government spokesman. Sarif Samsidin Sar, author former soldier and diplomat, a good friend and colleague of the late Vice President Baluo. Thank you very much, Tijan Masanneh Ceesay, veteran journalist, who and I will be doing the state funeral commentary on Kerr Fatou on Monday. Thank you very much for being with us. And Gibairu Janneh, Director of Communications at the National Assembly, where the late brother's body will lay for the state funeral on Monday. Thank you very much for giving us the updates. This will be all in the brunch this Saturday, which is, of course, exclusively tributes to Badara Aliou Diouf, who was the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia until his demise last week. We pray that his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.